you got to turn on. It's on now. It was on.
You're on now.
You're on.
All right, switch over to this one. No, they're on. But they're not. Is that better? Not yet. Talk loud. Yeah. Welcome to the best Rotary Club in the universe. All right, and we need one of these mics for Teak. Teak, where are you?
Here.
You can have it. It doesn't work, but at least hold it. It'll look good.
Well, I'll be loud then. Lord, thank you for the opportunity to be in Rotary today. Thank you for the fun, the fellowship, and mostly the service to our community and our world. I pray for those who can't be here today. If they're sick, give them your healing. If they're traveling, your safety. I pray for Rotarian Keith and his new time with the state. Many prayers for that. I pray for our community. I pray for this beautiful day. I pray for the people of Honduras in their recent presidential election, closely contested, and all sorts of disruptions afterwards. Thanks for all the blessings you've given us. Amen.
Amen. Flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair for all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And do we have a song today? And the mics are working.
Who's in charge? It's working.
I thought we'd try something a little different and do When the Saints Come Marching In.
When the saints come marching in, oh, when the saints come marching in, oh, I want to be in that number, when the saints go marching in. For those that have been in the club for a while, when somebody does a song that maybe people don't know or it's not on the record sheet, I think you need to do a Norm Curtis start to it. And Norm used to always start like, you all remember this song, and then he would sing one that we've never heard before, and he was by himself. Good job, Chris. Visiting Rotarians. Any visiting Rotarians in the room?
Oh no. Who's going to introduce Pat?
Right behind you, Ruth. Ruth's got it.
And today we have with us Hi Grinfield, a dear almost member.
Hi, Pat.
We have a beautiful young lady with us this morning, along with all the other beautiful young ladies, Renata Maybrook, and she was a Rotarian in Sedro Woolley at one time. And she really started Boys and Girls Club here and really got it going in the county. So, God bless her.
Renata.
Now, why don't you go out and recognize in the back Paul Pickering on the Skagit Mount Vernon Rotary back there someplace.
Hey, Paul.
Any other visiting Rotarians? Any guests of Rotarians?
All right, I've got my fiance, Dr. Zachary Colliman, with me today.
Like that.
Hey, Mr. President and the rest of the Rotary here. We weren't here last December for our anniversary, so I got Lisa here today. And she's also the county commissioner, so Lisa Jan.
Hi, Lisa.
Any announcements that need to be made. Laura, do you have an announcement? That's why you're standing up? No announcement. All right, so I'm going to give you an update. Eric Stendhal is improving, and next week we'll try and have a card on the table for us all to sign so that he knows he has the full support of the Rotary and is getting better. Don't forget, auction is coming up, May, so it'll be just around the corner. And Dave, would you stand up and maybe show your contribution to the auction yet? Can we get do that? Not yet? Okay. So that'll be a surprise. Next meeting, maybe? Okay. So Dave is back to doing his wonderful artistic endeavors. So we'll have a couple pieces of the auction maybe by next week that we can show and put forward. Projector. This is a borrowed one. There's been some requests that we improve the projector on the screen. The other one was doing kind of a slow decline to the point where it was hard for even people sitting up front. And I kind of thought the bad projector would make everybody want to sit up front, but that wasn't happening. So probably by next week or the week after.
By next week, I think.
This is a borrowed one. We'll have a new projector, so even in the back of the room, whatever's going on up front should be visible and could be seen. At the end of the meeting today, everybody on the crystal ball team, and where, right there, right at that table, is there's going to be a short meeting at that point.
It'll be a long meeting.
A long meeting at that point, okay? So if you're part of that committee, show up there. Any other activities or announcements to be made?
Actually, I got one.
Okay, go for it.
Just to let you guys know, the summer concert series, dates are set, bands are picked. Now I'm going to come around and start asking people for some money. So if anybody wants to be a sponsor this year that hasn't in the past, drop me an email. And for those of you that have been so wonderful to help me out the last couple of years, you'll be hearing from me again soon.
Chris is doing an amazing job. She's got all of her bands already lined up. She shared that the other day. And so even though that's only been a few years making use of our amphitheater down there, it's been a great program. Yes, Mark.
So on your tables are some little postcard-sized pictures of the new food bank. And so take a look at those. There's going to be an open house, kind of 2 or 3 hours there. It's got some dates and times on it. Put that in your calendar. Let everybody show up for that and bring some friends so they can see it. It's quite a facility. It's about probably 90–95% done now. So anyway, that's it.
Right. This club has been involved in that, and most recently, Mark probably wouldn't say anything, but he and Rick Keswick are going to go over and spray, help finish the painting on that. And so that's going to be a great addition in our community. Any other announcements from the floor? Okay, let's move on with the raffle.
All right.
So I guess we should pick up. Let's get somebody else. Let's pick up. Anyone pick up? Fantastic.
Your battery dying on that one? Dead battery.
All right, so we're going to probably try and keep it short here. Bad things moving along. So keeping on with Rich, anyone who has not provided a silent auction item, that'll be $1 fine. Anyone that has is immune to the entire time. Also, let's since we didn't sell out all of our numbers, anyone did not buy a number for the auction or for the raffle here, that'll be $1 from you as well. And don't have the sign-in sheet, but if you are not wearing your button, that'll be $1 for you.
Another $1. I don't know where it is.
Let's see here. Let's do 2 more. So if you watched a football game in December, that'll be $2. And the last one will be for, I would say, mayor, but now Mr. Senator, that'll be $10. Congratulations.
Got Happy Dollars.
Happy Bucks.
Do birthdays and anniversaries.
Birthdays and anniversaries for January. Yeah. Anybody that has birthday or anniversary?
So whoever has a birthday or anniversary in January, I guess was that first. It'll be $1.
It's 2 and 3.
2 and 3. So 2 for birthdays and $3 for anniversaries. Okay, sweet. Now we'll go over to Keith.
So I guess I'm on for Happy Bucks. First, I'd like to thank Lisa as our county commissioner. Our county commissioners really supported me, and Lisa seconded the motion yesterday, and I thank you for that. But you know, nothing happens in isolation. So what happened yesterday was the result of a lot of different steps along the way, and every one of you here has supported me in some way and got me to that point. So I really appreciate it, and I'm going to drop $50 here today because that's about all I have left. And I hope to go down there and do the best job for Sedro Woolley and the best job for the 39th that I can do. And thanks again for everything you've done for me up to now.
All right.
So I have a happy $10 for the miracle of modern medicine. Michael went in for an angiogram scheduled, and turns out he had a 98% blockage in one of his arteries, so they put a stent in, and that was 2 weeks ago on Monday, and he is feeling much better. It was a real scare, and I'm very grateful for all the great care he got. So that's why I'm very happy.
Got a happy 5. I don't know if you guys know this or not. But my name tag's not right anymore. And I got married. And my name is now Jensen. So somebody can fix that for me.
$5.
Anyways, but I'm really, really happy.
I'm throwing in a 20 here for Dean and I. Thank you, Senator Wagner, for redirecting all the city council away from that library bullshit that's been going on for a while. Now we can talk about you and your replacement. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, well, I got a happy 20 for, it's a new year, 2018. I see a lot of great things happening, and big news, I am moving to Sedro Woolley in a week. I can officially be a Skagit Valley community member, so I'm really looking forward to actually being able to vote in this county and just being close to town and being part of the Sedro Woolley community, so I'm happy about that.
All right.
Mr. President.
Okay. We have 2 thank yous that came in. One is, if you remember, when we had all the storms, hurricanes that went through, we sent $3,000 to disaster relief. They sent a very nice thank you note back to our club saying that that was very helpful. The other thank you note that just came in was from Family Promise, which is a local group that is serving, and they had a chance to get a matching grant. And so we supported them in helping them get that matching grant. So almost every month, pretty much, there's something this club is doing to make a difference locally and internationally. So a couple thank you notes came in. So we're going to get into our program. Are there any, this is the time for early leavers. I'm going to call you up and introduce our program.
So today I am honored to have Phil Brockman and Ruth Richardson, who may or may not be up here. They are going to present a very important bond and levy replacement on our ballot February 13th. And as a voter of the Sedro Woolley community, not only is it important for you to be informed about what we're asking as a school district, but also that you are promoting correct information out in the community and can be a strong advocate for our schools and our students. Every month you get to meet the students that come through Sedro Woolley High School, and they start at the very young ages in our preschool program, moving through the elementary schools. Evergreen is, it's in very, very much needed repair. And that's an understatement by about 10 million words. And so by the time they get to us as high school, we are so grateful for the love and care that our employees give to every student. And so by this information that you'll have at your fingertips, that you can then make a well-informed choice when you have that ballot in front of you, that you make sure that you are also promoting to your friends and families the importance of what we're asking our community to do. And it's that important because the students that stand before you are the ones I serve every single day. They're the ones that I go home to at night in my head and fall asleep to some of the stories that are not good stories that they have to face. But when they come to school, they get the very best. And so without further ado, I'd like to have Phil come forward and then Ruth on the side if you'd like to join.
I think I'm just going to give the clicker to her because she's done such a great job. Schools are better than ever. Don't let anybody tell you that schools are not. They're better than ever, and especially in Sedro Woolley, we have 4 pillars of philosophy: great teachers and supporting staff. We have great teachers in our schools. 4 years ago, we started kindergarten, full-day kindergarten. Our 3rd graders this last year knocked out of the park with the assessment scores. Our 11th graders, Carrie, our 11th graders are looking at your scores just this morning. Our 11th graders' English LA scores are top of the county. Did you know that? They're top of the county. And math scores are close behind. And that's because of the great teachers and great staff that we have. The second pillar is great administrators, and it's just not our school administrators, it's our directors for transportation and nutrition and curriculum. But we have great school administrators here. Stephanie in the background is a school administrator over at Cascade Middle. She's a very, very strong instructional leader, especially in the math and science areas. Carrie's a very strong instructional leader at the high school, and it's showing in both schools. So we have great schools without great leaders. We have a district office that supports our schools. Brett Greenwood, he's our executive director of business and operations. And if it wasn't for Brett keeping a handle on what we're doing with our budget, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing right now and adding programs and initiatives. Brett has that finger on the budget. We have a healthy fund balance right now because of Brett, and he never says no. He says, what can we do to make it happen? And then the last pillar is family community partners. It's Rotarians. It's our family community partners that you are here supporting our schools. I didn't see Mike Schweiger here. Is Mike here? There's Mike way in the back. One of the things that Mike has done since he's moved to the district office, he's not only taken over the director of curriculum instruction, but he also is supervising our English language learners program. And if you haven't been to a multicultural night or diversity night, and we usually hold it over at Evergreen or the Cascade Mill this last year, Mike leads that program and leads that staff where our kids are performing multicultural dances and music, and he actually gets up there and speaks for about 5 minutes in Spanish. And it's really cool to see Mike get up there and do that, to welcome our community in. So when we all work together, we have great schools, great community, and we do make a difference. So I thought I'd brag a little bit about our schools, our accomplishments and initiatives. We have schools of distinction and Washington Achievement Schools. Our latest schools of distinctions are Clear Lake Elementary and Sandwich. And they're the top 5% of schools that are growing academically in the state. So they joined Lyman and Big Lake and Central and the high school. And not only schools of distinction, but Washington Achievement Schools, which is the sustaining that school academic progress. We're the only school in Skagit County getting these awards right now. And it's really fun to see what they are doing in our schools, our kids are doing with our teachers. We have sustained graduation rate of about 92% and increased assessment scores. And the two areas of where our assessment scores are increasing, I mentioned already. Third grade scores, knocked out of the park. The reason that third grade did that is because what we did 4 years ago with full day K. We implemented 4-day K when we came into the district. Those kids grew up through first, second, and then this third grade, and they're exceeding state assessment scores by 10% in both English LA and math. And then our 11th grade scores at the other end, and our graduation rates at the other end as they go out and leave us. STEM grant partnerships, I want to thank Senator Wagner for helping us get there. 2 years ago, we started the Sedro Woolley STEM program, and it was the city, it was us, it was Janicki, Tom was there, and not the Boys and Girls Club, but the Junior Achievement was there, and all of a sudden it just ended up getting some legs. Tim came on board with us, Tim Hallen. Rich helped start that program when he was on the board. But it's got legs and it's spread beyond Sedro Woolley. It's now Skagit County-wide. We've got, I don't know how many business and industries involved with our programs, but we have business and industry coming into our schools, working with our kids, showing them what the real world looks like, and our kids going out into the real world, out to business and industry, and actually seeing what you guys do every day in the real world. One of the most best field trips that I was on recently was PACCAR. I don't know if you've been to PACCAR or not, but they have this control room over there. And PACCAR is just incredible. They've got their big trucks going there 24 hours a day, and all of these engineers and techs looking in and testing the trucks. What I was told when I was in that control room is that there's cleaner air coming out of some of those trucks than there is that we're breathing now because of the technology that they're doing. And getting kids out there to see that is pretty incredible. So one-to-one computing and safety enhancements. 4 years ago, we started the safety and technology levy. Thank you for helping us pass that. We've got one-to-one computing in all our elementary schools. We're close to it in the middle and high school, which is huge with using technology as a tool with our students. And then the safety enhancements. You know, we've had Chief Tucker with and Chief, our fire chief back there as well, with us. I don't know how many tabletop drills and drills at Samish Elementary and Cascade and at the high school active shooter drills. But we've got cameras and fencing and electronic locks. We're leading the county, leading Northwest Washington in just safety of our schools. It's really important to have that. We've added elementary music and art, lowered class sizes. We've added 30 minutes to the elementary day and added counseling and library support. In addition to that, we've added classroom libraries now at all of our elementary schools. So these are leveled libraries so students can learn how to read and write better than what they're doing. We're updating our school libraries, thousands of dollars in our school libraries. We've required our schools to put about 4 or 5% of their budget into the libraries, and we've received a lot of grant money from that as well. Full day K I've mentioned. We've enhanced our coursework at the middle school. We've got college in the high school now. We've expanded career and tech ed. We have an algebra manufacturing program. We have a geometry and construction program in addition to ag bio and AP technology and computers now that we've expanded. Very rigorous CTE program at the high school now. It was before that, we've just expanded on that. We've expanded our English language learner and expanded our support for special education. So we've done a lot of work over the last 4 years, 5 years. We couldn't have done that work without people like Rich and Tim and Mark Venn sitting back there, and you, because you held Sedro Woolley at a high regard, and when funding came in from the state, we were able to expand and move on with that. So my job has been easy the last 4 or 5 years, almost 5 years. Mark's job was tougher than anything when he was back there, and Mike back there. I see us smiling. It's not fun to cut programs and teachers. So we're not in that position anymore because we're adding. We're getting more money from the state. The state legislators, they go in session on Monday, next Monday, January 8th. I'm looking at Senator Wagner now. because we need to finish the fully funding of education. The governor's coming out with his budget of about $1 billion to put into it. We phase in these dollars over a period of time, so it'll be fall next year and the following year and the following year to get fully funded. And the reason we have to run a levy, renewal levy, is because we're not quite getting all those funds yet. When we do, we're going to reduce that levy. And it'll be a levy called an enrichment levy, probably about $1.50 per thousand. Right now we're running about $3.90, and it'll run over 4 years. You can see the numbers up there. But depending on the legislative action, it could be $1.50, and that's what we're anticipating it to be. So this is a renewal and a replacement levy that we're asking our voters to look at. Bullet number 2 is sunset. We're sunsetting the safety and technology levy. So that was a levy that we've had over the last 4 years. We've come to the end of that. We've got all the technology that we need right now. We're going to be replacing that over a period of time as we move forward. And our safety is where we want it right now. As technology phases out and more technology comes in, we'll be looking at that through other funding sources. So the first part of this presentation is just kind of the state of where we are. And the next part is, what do we do with in our future? So in our future, we need to cover costs. So music, special ed, art, lower class sizes. So that's what the levy pays for, all those additional pieces. And again, if the state does what they said they're going to do in the next few months, we'll be able to back off on that levy from $3.90 to $1.50. So the bond, the long time coming. The bond, $79.5 million. It's about $1.50 per thousand for our property tax owners. It's to build a new Evergreen Elementary School. How many of you went through elementary at Evergreen Elementary or had kids go through Evergreen Elementary? Did you get lost? Evergreen was built as an open concept school in 1974. There was this big philosophy back then. If we had open concepts, we're going to have better creative students with problem solving. It was too noisy, it was distracting to the kids, it didn't work. Within 5 or 6 years, all of those open concept schools, people were making walls with bookshelves or whatever they could make. We've done it through partitions. They're fake walls. You walk through one classroom into another classroom and into maybe outside. You're just not sure where you're going to go. I get lost just about every time I go in there. And the other piece is the water system there is terrible. We ship water in every week. And I had Brett Greenwood, he was on the front page of the paper about a year ago holding up a pipe that was just full of stuff in the pipe. So we need piping, you need all of that, we need real scope. So Evergreen is on our list, it's #1. So we will build a new Evergreen if the bond passes on the other side of the field, closer to where the buses run out. Probably a 3-story school. We'll move Evergreen Good Beginnings over to that school, the preschool program, and that'll be just an exciting place for kids to learn. Our next item on the list is the building preservation. We've kicked this can down the road for 20 years. We have roofs and boilers and windows and ADA compliance, sidewalks, siding that needs to be replaced in all of our facilities. It's about $12 million. When the committee got together, it was more like $25 million. We've scaled it back. But we need to fix and repair our facilities. And that's #2 on the list. We'll add classroom space at Central, Mary Purcell, Big Lake, and Sandwich State Street High School. We'll add gymnasiums at 5 of our elementaries, Sandwich, Lyman, Central, Mary Purcell, and Big Lake. And a lot of people ask, why gymnasiums? Well, our gymnasiums are doubling as our cafeterias right now. And they're really not gymnasiums. They might have a wood floor, but they don't really act as a gymnasium. So we need bigger gymnasiums. Our PE teachers can actually teach PE. It won't double as a cafeteria space, so we can run PE in classes at the same time we're running lunches. Some schools have up to 3 and 4 different lunches, and that means that space is out for that period of time. And by the way, When we do move out of the cafeteria space into the new gyms, then we open up more space for small group instruction for our special ed kids, our ELO kids, our learning assistance program kids, our kids in the title programs. We have kids in the hallways. You walk into Central Elementary right now and they have a big table right there in the front of the hallway. Kids are being taught right there in the hallway how to read and how to write in small group instruction. We have that in just about every one of our schools. So if we can build gymnasiums, that's going to be not only a plus for our schools and communities, but it also gets us out of the cafeteria business and gives us more classroom space. We'll update and expand the gymnasium entrance. This is one piece. I had several people come to the office over the last year promoting and asking if we can put on the bond, because they were part of the committee and heard what we were doing, just to expand the interest into the gymnasium. We have lots of trophies out there that we're not displaying just because it's not big enough. And so when they go to Mount Vernon, they go to Burlington or some other schools, they walk through there and say, why can't we have an entrance that's a little bit better? So we put that on the bond. Add covered play area, double portables at Clear Lake Elementary. We expand Janeke, the play space over there. And how many of you have been in that restroom in Janeke? Yeah, you don't want to go in there sometimes. So we're going to expand the restroom facility, and then for every bond, it's always good to have something on there around purchasing property for future growth. $79.5 million over 20 years. Tax rate about $1.49 per thousand. That's being conservative. It will probably come down. And if you look at the homes values of $200,000 and $300,000, it's about $25 or $30 a month, about $300, $370 per year annually. State match will get, Senator, if they pass that capital budget. We need to pass that capital budget to get that state match. We'll get about $6 million to help us reduce costs. So when we put it all together, the bottom line is we're going to have to run an EPO levy to cover costs right now to sustain our programs and services that we are now running. It could be about $3.90, or it could be $1.50, depending on the legislative action. And my hope is that it'll be $1.50. We have construction costs with the bond, construction preservation improvement bond, $1.49 per thousand. When you put it all together, we could be as high as $5.39 per year annually, per thousand annually, or we could be $2.99 per thousand. That's what it would cost us. My hope is going to be $2.99 per thousand. If it's that, we're reducing about to our taxpayers about $2.40. So it could be an additional $1.29, or probably $2.40. Again, pending legislative action. And I looked up over the last 20 years our costs of bonds and levies over the last 20 years. We've been as high as $5, a little more than $5, and as low as $2.99 over the last 20 years. But when you average it all out, it's about $4.49 per thousand. We're right in that ballpark figure right now, which means this is something that our community can support. And we want to be really cognizant of what our community can afford as well. We have great schools, and they're because of you. And this is our citizens committee for both the bond and citizens levy. So I wanted to say have a big thank you for those of you that sat on this committee. So, kind of the state of the schools where we are with Sedro Woolley School District. Don't let people tell you that schools are not very good and all that. Schools are better than ever. They have more opportunities than you and I ever had. Carrie, you can talk to, you hear about the high school all the time, but it's K through 12, all the way through. And Sedro schools especially, we are leading the county, actually leading Northwest Washington in what we're doing with our kids in our schools. And so it's been going on for a long time, long before I got here. And so I want to thank all of you that have been supporting our schools over the last 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 years and more. But we're just getting better and better. So, and all of that is because when we work together, we do make a difference. So, President? Questions? Questions? Yeah. Yeah. Questions?
You did so well. On the gymnasiums and projects like that, are those going to be moving outside walls? adding on to the buildings, or is it just remodeling?
We're going to build brand new buildings. There'll be brand new buildings for the gymnasium. Yeah. Yeah. And we've got some artist conceptions with that already, but they'll be bigger than what they are. They'll have staging areas on them. They'll have storage space in them as well.
Connected or separate?
It could be connected, depends on what school and what we're looking at, but it could be both.
What's going to happen to the old Evergreen building?
We'll keep the old Evergreen building. The bones are great. The outside structures are great on that. We'll get some new funding sources along the way, maybe timber dollars or something like that as we move through that. But it could be a district office. We are a growing district. We've moved our special ed programs over to the annex at Cascade Middle. We've moved our food nutrition services over to the old Good Beginnings building. We're just running out of space. So our thought is we keep that building. It could be a district office, could be a place where we run our board meetings, could be teacher learning center, conference center. So we'll keep that and then slowly work through those issues in the next few years.
The 10 million repairs got cut, were those just pie in the sky things that started on there, or are they things that are needed?
Things that are needed. When the task force came back and talked with me, who was I talking with? It was Tim. I was talking with Tim the other day. The task force first came back and said, we have $140 million of needs for our school district. There's no way we go out for $140 million, so we begin to cut back on it. So our future, when we look into the future, if the bond passes, we'll put together small groups and construction, and we'll get all that going, and we'll fix and repair our facilities. The future would be backing off on our levies, and then at the same time, maybe run a capital levy, a small capital levy to help maintain our facilities. Mike?
What's the number of kids that are going to be in this new Evergreen school?
About 650. So we're about 580 kids right now. We're going to build a school for 650, and we're going to, in addition to the Good Beginnings preschool program over there, that'll be about 50 to 60 kids there as well. We believe that it's smart to have preschool on a school campus as opposed to over portables over at the SSB.
Student enrollment, how's it going in our
Student enrollment is growing. We're over 4,400 kids. I'm not sure what the all-time high is, but we looked over the last 20 years, and it looks like we're nearing an all-time high over the last 20 years. We're a growing district, about 50 students per year into our school district, which means not only are we increasing, because students come with a price tag on their heads, right? So that's how we budget our schools. So the state's kicking in, our enrollment's kicking in, we're in a good place financially. David?
So just for those of you that remember back in the open concept days, the library at the high school was an open concept structure. So my late father was a very kind man, but I recall he said some very disparaging things about open concept architects. And I remember helping Lodan at Evergreen, FBLA. We were there one day and we walked in, and this room, this giant open room. And it was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And it still is the weirdest thing.
Believe it or not, when I was in Seattle, I taught at Rainier Beach High School for about 10 years, and across the street from Rainier Beach High School was Aki Croce Middle School. It was open concept. Can you imagine 600 or 800 kids in an open concept, middle school kids? Stephanie's back there fainting. It didn't work. No, yeah.
That open concept was something that just shocked me, because when I worked for DNR before I went into business, I was the spokesman for Smokey the Bear, and John Robbins wore the Smokey the Bear sign. And so we walked into Evergreen, and we talked to this class. The other two classes got interrupted because we had Smokey the Bear there. So then we talked to that class, and then the class we just talked to was distracted. I thought it was crazy. I got one question though.
Yes, sir.
Years ago, there used to be a bathroom under the home stands at the high school. And I don't know if the school district has ever thought about putting another one back there again. But I know that our Rotary Club is pretty good at building bathrooms. We did it down at Riverfront Park. did it at Hammer Heritage, did it at the City Field, Keswick Field. So if the school district isn't thinking about it and if they would allow one there, maybe Rotary would build one there. I'd like to see one there, if we could get one back there under the grandstands.
They're working on that. I don't think we're going to go under the grandstands, but part of what we have on the bond is concession space, broadcasting room, because we have that big screen now on the field in Steve McCart's classes. They're working out of this little closet over by the wrestling room over there. So our thoughts are that we build bathrooms and we build a new concession space and we put a broadcasting booth up there, right there where that concession stand is right now. Take a little more of the green space over there. So that's on our list. Yes, sir.
Just a comment. So my son was the first class to go to the new middle school, and now my son and my daughter have both come through there. And I think first taxes are always something to consider deeply. But one thing that I would add to the conversation is just the pride that those kids have going to that new school. You just can't replace that. It's just amazing what that middle school has done for our district.
Yeah. I would totally agree. I am open. If you ever want to walk through our schools or tour schools, I love doing that. I love showing off Cascade. They've got 2 great sized gyms. They use them all the time. They've got science labs. The music, it's just an incredible school right now. And we really did get a big bang for our buck at those schools. And you walk through that school, those kids, they still are holding their heads up high. The pride in that school, you see very little graffiti or anything. The school's clean, the walls are clean. We had a concert not too long ago, a band concert at Cascade in the Commons area. And one of the best things that we did was put those bleachers in. We've got the big screen and the projector up there. That music program at Cascade is phenomenal. Kyla Brumbaugh and Olivia are doing a great, fantastic job there. Had a lot of fun at that last concert with the trumpet trio. Some of you didn't saw that. Rich.
Bill, can you speak a little bit to how much the facilities get used by the community?
Yeah, so more and more every year. We have our facility used over 5,000 times per year. We've actually had to hire a full-time facilities coordinator because of the use that we have. So our community is in our schools, it's in our gyms, in our classrooms, in our cafeteria space, every day, 7 days a week. Yes?
I just want to have a comment about how fortunate I am to have my little girl, in first grade here at Central and be able to grow up in the Sedro Woolley School District and go to high school here. All the programs and all the different extracurricular activities that are available to the high school students alone, it's inspiring. Even the high school that I graduated from in Bellingham, every year they cut a program. They don't even have a jazz band. They don't have a drama department. They don't have a photography lab. I mean, every year they're cutting and cutting and cutting, and all I see here is growth.
Yeah, that's great. Jack?
I've heard about the state lottery always going to do so much for the schools. Have they ever done anything?
Very little, Jack. Very little. That's why we're back at talking to the legislatures about quit it. I've already made an appointment with the staffer to come down and give them a budget 101 for schools. Louis.
One of the things you had up there was the purchase of additional property for the future.
Yes.
How much property are you talking about, and what would it be for?
Well, we have to look. So Clear Lake has been a big issue for us. Part of Clear Lake is it's in the flood zone. We can fix the facilities and do cosmetic things, but we really can't build up there because of the flood zone that it's in. We're going to take the old trailer out, put a double portable in there. We notice we have a portable up in the front of the school. We had to raise it up 8 feet just to get it in. And I'd like us to have us look and see if we can find some property somewhere in Clear Lake to build a new school eventually. So that's one piece. And if there's other property around that we can benefit from, we would go there too.
Well, several years ago, I was asked to be the chairman of a committee to find a new location for the high school.
Yes.
And we looked at 6 different locations, and the one that came to the surface was one that we were going to get for like $1 up at Northern State. And I don't know if that's still a possibility, but it was a really nice location on the hillside up there. But all of those, that was all went down the tube because they wanted to keep the high school where it was and expand it.
Yeah. It is a beautiful site up there. The Swift Center would be really nice once it gets going.
There were 6 really good locations we came up with.
Well, that's our hope is we can find someplace. Yeah.
Are the new gymnasiums that you're building going to be gymnasiums / cafeterias?
No, no.
Or are you doing just gyms?
Just gyms, just gymnasium space. Yeah. Yes.
I have 2 kids that go to Lyman.
Yes.
We love Lyman, it's a great school. They only get to have PE 3 days a week right now, probably because of the sharing the cafeteria in the gym. Will elementary kids have PE 5 days a week?
I can't guarantee that because we have so much instructional time during the day, and that's what drives our school day. But it'll be open all day long, so there's a possibility that they may get more. So we've added 30 minutes onto the elementary day now to accommodate music and art. And so if we add more time, that's a possibility. But I can't guarantee 5 days a week. What we're required to is 100 hours, so we'll have to accommodate that. Ruth.
Get up there. Thank you.
So as you see, I was on the task force for both the bond and the levy. We worked really hard for the past year to try to come up with the best deal we could get to do the most and still keep it affordable for the citizens of this community, because everyone that was on that committee realized there's a lot of work that needs to be done. If you go into the buildings besides Cascade and you really truly look, there are significant issues in every single building in this school district. So it's really important that we, this is a starting place, and I keep hearing that for years these projects needed to be done. And I keep saying, you know, the future is now. Every year that they've had a committee like this in the past 20 years, they have discussed these issues. They've discussed the fact that they need new roofs, that they need new siding at Lyman, that they need new gym floors or just gyms in period, because I don't know how many parents in here have heard their children say, "Mom, I barely get 10 minutes to eat lunch." And that's a problem at every single elementary school here in town. And if we can build gymnasiums, maybe my kid who eats slowly would have 20 minutes, and she could eat more than half of a sandwich, half of a small chip bag, and half of a chocolate milk carton. I mean, that's the sort of thing that I think about, is the fact that we need to do this for our children. It's not, to me, a political issue. It's we need to take care of our kids, and we need to do it now, because the future that everyone's been talking about for 20 years, it's now. And it is time for this community to step up and vote yes. Anyway, needless to say, I'm very passionate because I've spent a year doing this. But we are having an open house at Evergreen Elementary School on January 23rd. And we would love to have as many community members be there as possible. It's from 6 to 8 p.m. It's, we're going to have every single school in the district represented there, so you can talk to the principals or staff members from other schools besides Evergreen, and they can tell you exactly what they're getting out of the bond as well. We'll also have information there about the levy, so if you have more questions that maybe didn't get answered today, we'll have some more information there as well. So, anyway, thanks.
Thanks, Ruth. Anybody else? Tim?
Tim? Tim?
Tim's been passionate about this for a long time.
Yeah, as far as the facilities committee, we really looked over these schools, and there's sometimes a feeling that, oh, we get these repairs, and that'll last forever. But they don't last forever. This is an ongoing problem, and hopefully this bond will get us caught up on our repairs, and then maybe we can keep up in the future. Because by falling behind, we'll have someone roof the high school and central school where you have these membrane roofs and you can actually lift them up and put your hand underneath the membrane. That means water's leaking into the substructure. Like any remodeling project, we're going to find things during this that we didn't know, problems we didn't know we had. And I want to prevent that in the future because that really costs us a fortune and it's unnecessary if we act more proactively in the future. But this will get us caught up. And I was talking to Brother Nick the other day about bonds and financing. And is this a good time to get a bond and finance it? Rates are low.
Rates are low. That's what I heard.
That's what Aldi says.
I just wanted to make a comment. I was on the school board for a long time and walked all these schools. And what people forget is the high school, it's actually the newer part of the high school, because some of it was older, was built in 1921. So it's almost 100 years old. And when you walk through it, you can actually see the granite steps have worn almost 3/4 of an inch. So it's not like we didn't get good use out of it. It's just that you have kids sliding their feet because you can't get them to walk straight. For 100 years, you wear out granite. So I just think that the schools have done an excellent job maintaining these things. Some of the stuff we're asking for is only once in 100 years that it needs to be done, but it still needs to be done once in 100 years. So it's just stuff that's why it's expensive, because you're replacing stuff that's been there for 100 years. So I think we've got our money's worth out of it. One other thing, if you're interested, there's a white pickup over on the north side of the library, and there's a bunch of old school signs in the back end of it. You're welcome to pick one up and put it up in your yard.
Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your attention.
Great.
Thank you guys for the program. You get one of our world famous pins, universe famous pins. And being the greatest Rotary Club in the universe, it only happens because we have a great community. And that's why you're Rotarians, is because you want to make this community great. And just so you know, from my position, how many days are we into 2018? Like 4? And I've already had 2 more people contact me to be members. And they're both ex-Sedro Woolley graduates. So, any other comments from the floor? Pat, thank you for being here. Renata, Pat, you and Renata should be here every week. I don't know what you can probably. Yeah, we could work on that. Even though we've had a lot of new members, I think there's still, we have a couple more chairs we haven't brought out in the back room, and we can
Well, I certainly wouldn't embarrass you by telling you that I had planned to go to the Burlington Midday Club that only meets once a month, but I left home too late to get there, so I came here.
Second choice, second choice, because this is where that's what we think.
It's a great second choice.
All right. And I don't know if Paul's still at the back. Lisa, you're always welcome here. Thank you for showing up today. I think Dr. Zach had to leave out the door, so it's good to have guests and visiting Rotarians with us. And with that, we're off to a good start in 2018.